Hey, how's it going? Today, we're going to take a dive. A deep one. We've got our hands on the transcript of a super philosophical conversation filled with ideas about consciousness, reality, and the very meaning of life. It is the kind of talk that either completely ties your brain in knots or opens a door to thinking about everything in a totally different way. Our mission is to unpack the core ideas of this conversation, to understand what they were saying about how we create our own reality and what our role might be in this grand cosmic scheme. The starting point is a real gut punch. The main idea is that life isn't something that just happens to us. The conversation argues that we are active co-creators of everything around us. The material reality, the world as we see it, is a collective project. But here's the twist. At the same time it says we're co-creators, it uses a powerful metaphor that humans are malleable, almost like robots being manipulated and led to create our current situation. So how can that be? If we're co-creators, how can we also be manipulated robots? One idea sounds incredibly empowering, the other is the complete opposite. This is the central duality the source points out. We are co-creators at the level of our consciousness, our true essence. But at the level of the ego, the personality living day to day, we act like robots. We respond to programming, fears, desires, and external stimuli. The process called awakening is about making our robot self remember that it's also the programmer behind the machine. It's like we have the software to create worlds, but we're running on autopilot, just reacting. The source says we get stuck because we're too focused on the sensory and emotional. It's like crying because your video game character fell into a pit, forgetting you're the one holding the controller. To explain this dynamic, the source uses a powerful metaphor from the book, A Course in Miracles. Imagine a source of pure, perfect, unified consciousness, which the text calls the loving one. The source expands, like an infinite balloon of light and love, creating other consciousnesses that are extensions of itself. We're all inside this same balloon, a universe of unity and perfection. But then one of these consciousnesses has a fleeting thought. What would it be like to exist without the source? On its own, the thought had no power. But in this universe, imagination creates reality. By focusing on this idea, this consciousness dreamed a separate reality. This dream created what's described as a little appendix balloon, still connected to the main one, but perceiving itself as separate. That little balloon is our universe, described as a nightmare, a distortion born from the idea of separation. That feeling of anxiety, loneliness, or that something is missing is an echo of this original separation. It's the human translation of a cosmic event. But here's the paradox. Even though it's a dream of separation, the little balloon only exists because it's still connected to and fed by the source. Total separation is impossible. That's why waking up from the dream is seen as inevitable, but it has to be gradual. If you woke up suddenly, the shock would be so great you'd metaphorically die of fright. But the conversation doesn't stop there. It drops an even bigger bomb. What if the loving one, this all-powerful source, isn't the end of the line? What if it's just one particle inside something even bigger? This is called the violent paradigm because it shatters the foundation of everything you thought you knew. If our ultimate source is itself just part of something larger, the scale of our dream and our purpose expands to an almost incomprehensible level. All this cosmic drama brings us to our experience right here, right now. The source uses another strong image. Humanity is at the bottom of a pit, the furthest point from the source's perfection. This sounds pessimistic, but the conversation flips it, saying this is precisely where our greatest opportunity lies. In a state of absolute perfection and unity, there's no choice. You just are. There's no contrast. The experience of distortion, of suffering, of what we call evil, gives us the contrast, the black background against which we can finally see ourselves. It's only by experiencing what we are not that we can consciously say, ah, that is peace, that is connection. That is what I choose. So pain and chaos become tools for consciousness to know itself. Without the experience of separation, unity would have no meaning. And this journey isn't solitary. The idea is that our personal transformation leaks into the environment. When you transform, when you reach a new vibration, it's like your bell is rung, and the reverberation helps other bells to vibrate too. Your personal evolution becomes a cosmic service. You don't fix the whole ocean. You purify your drop, and that affects everything. But this journey is drastically different for everyone. Two people in the conversation use very distinct visual metaphors for their own paths. One describes a straight, smooth, well-trodden dirt road with a city visible on the horizon, an image of clarity and a defined purpose. The other describes a steep climb up a volcano, an unstable terrain where they need 6 clawed limbs just to hang on. It's an image of constant struggle, a tremendous effort not to slide back. What seems to define the type of path are the shocks or moments of rupture in each person's life. The volcano climber recalls a childhood trauma at age 5, watching their father nearly drown. That moment, when innocence ended, created a state of constant alert, always prepared for the next shock. The world was no longer a safe place. Meanwhile, the person on the dirt road says their big rupture came at 19, seeing a relative suffering in a hospital. One was a sudden, violent childhood trauma, the other a more gradual, later realization. This humanizes the whole cosmic conversation. In the end, it all comes down to how we deal with our own traumas and perceptions. So let's tie this all together. We start with the idea that reality is a collective dream, an illusion we co-create, born from a thought of separation. Within this dream, we're on a cosmic journey to rediscover ourselves, and the gift we get for being at the bottom of the pit is the power of choice. These aren't just abstract theories. They're tools to reinterpret what happens to us and find meaning in the chaos. But the conversation ends with a truly unsettling idea. After this whole journey of awakening, the source drops a bombshell. Our universe, with its estimated lifespan of 80 to 100 billion years, won't have enough time to fix itself. The quote is too little time for so much filth. The implication is that this universe might be a pilot project, a first draft. The source suggests a plan B, where the consciousnesses that awaken here will be taken to another universe to continue the healing process. We might be living in a cosmic beta test that's destined to be archived. This changes everything, the pressure, the urgency, the meaning of it all. And that's the final question that echoes. What does it mean to live with purpose, knowing the grand project we're in might just be a rough draft? Thanks for going on this deep dive with us. If this sparks something in you, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to follow for more explorations like this. See you next time.